It's a little bit funky, but a little bit touchy. It's a little bit lifty, cause I know it's tricky. It's a little bit funky, but a little...
Well, what's the crack? Here we are with episode 1 of the Muck Podcast. We did an episode before, it was like episode 0, and that there was just more me like kind of testing the grounds of, well, doing podcasts in general. I felt like it actually went alright, just for the first time doing one, and I felt like if I don't do another one, then, another one won't get fucking made, simply to put it like that. But hopefully you're all doing well and you're staying safe, doing all that usual business. But yeah, so for this podcast, we're just gonna be talking about different things. I have questions and stuff to answer, because I put up a story on my Instagram a couple of weeks ago, being like, "Yo, here, does anyone want to ask any questions for the podcast?" And I got a couple of questions. Like before, I got like silly ones, like how many wanks have I had in a day, and what's the longest shite that I've ever had in my life. Um, aye, so we'll just fucking get a wee move on with them. But just to kind of fucking bring us into this, if you've never seen the previous episode, it's more just me talking shit about literally anything. The questions are here, but I just tend to go on pure tangents about the most fucking stupid shit. So we'll have like 9 questions here, which will probably turn into like 30 different fucking topics of me just talking about literally everything and anything. So hopefully you enjoy, get a wee cup of tea, have a shed, have a wank, do whatever you're gonna do while you're listening to this, or don't do any of them because that's very, very weird. So for the first question that I got, these are from like a couple of weeks ago. Some of these I may have touched on in episode 0, but we'll just go over them again anyway, just to kind of keep over or fucking keep up to date with stuff. So like the first question I got here was like, how did I get past my first stream? So for my first stream, it was like September 20, no, it was like March 2019 or something like that. And I had like bare bones equipment. I actually used my student loan. Don't tell anyone about this. Fucking used my student loan to buy a microphone and some basic streaming equipment like an absolute idiot when I should have spent it on, I don't know, maybe a better laptop, because the laptop that I bought with my first student loan ended up blue screening after about a week. I wasn't using it for anything dodgy, like it was just the thing was shed. And I actually remember going into the place being like, "Oh, I hear, is this laptop good?" And the wee woman behind the counter was like, "Yeah, it's really good. My wee son has one." I was like, "All right, right, right." And it's just like, "Do you want cover with it?" And I was like, "Do you think I would need it?" And she's like, "Nah, he's had his for about a year and it's still working." So I was like, "Fuck it, not buying it." So basically, I was using that shit laptop, a decent microphone, the one that I'm actually using now, and fucking I got like a keyboard and mouse and stuff like that, just so I would have like ease of access to my laptop instead of having to like turn around like an absolute fucking gremlin. So like my first stream was when I was like looking to do like Mario 64 speedruns. I had like practice glitches and stuff like that in it, and I didn't even like really broadcast that I was actually streaming at that time. I didn't like tell anyone. I just did a stream and just to kind of get a feel for it. And I was like running about Mario doing like the same tricks over and over again, like practicing and just doing stupid shit. And actually, I don't even think I even spoke in that first stream. But that was like the first ever kind of like trial run of a stream. But the first stream that I did, whenever I was like proper wanting to actually do streaming properly, I think I was playing Ocarina of Time. And the reason I was playing Ocarina of Time was because the capture card I had at the time could only capture Wii and Nintendo 64 footage. So I was like, oh, I hear, fuck it. Played Ocarina of Time before, and it's like one of my favorite games. So I was like, oh, I hear, Liz, we'll play it. Plus, you're an absolute cheap bastard, and you don't have any fucking better things to play anyway, Andy. And I was like, I should be able to do it. So like for the first stream, I told a lot of people that I was going to be streaming. I was like, oh, I hear, I'm going to be like doing live streams here. So if you want to like pop in, say hello, and like fire some sort of like abuse about my appearance, I'd like greatly appreciate it. And I was proper nervous as fuck because I'd actually said to people about it that I was going to be doing a stream. And it ended up going well. I didn't even have much in the way of like technical problems and things like that because the shit capture card didn't have to have like any syncing issues with audio and stuff like that. So it was basically like plug in everything and it would just work like that. So I was pretty happy with not having to tinker about with different things on like Streamlabs and all. So it was kind of like streamlined, easy to set up, and I was just streaming away. And like there wasn't too many people who'd come in. There would be people who would pop in and say hello and then leave. And I was more just kind of using it as practice to getting used to like talking to myself. And to be fair, I feel like it helped me overall, given the fact that I'm quite literally staring at a fucking webcam talking to myself right now. Um, but after like the first stream, I felt really good because like I had like a good load of my friends like who had accounts of Twitch like follow me, and then there was a couple of randoms who had came in and they had followed me as well. So like after that, because I always knew that I really wanted to stream, and I knew like the start of it would be proper shake crack, and you probably heard a fucking horn going off in my street. I don't know what the crack is with, but I like I've got like a good amount of follows on the first stream. I think it was like 15 or something like that. And that was just like from the initial friends and then a few strangers coming in. So by the time like I'd finished the first stream, I was like, oh, this is like pretty good, but I didn't want to like pure get my hopes up because I knew I was me starting off and people getting into it. Um, but overall, like I did feel pretty good about the first stream. I was like proud of myself that I'd actually bothered my fucking arse to do it after talking about streaming properly for so long. And whenever I'd actually done it, I was kind of just sitting there with myself chuffed because like one, everything worked. Two, like a couple of my pals ended up turning up for the stream and talking shit. Um, and I was just overall pretty happy for it. Like getting past it, like was good. Like I was kind of getting used to the idea of how everything worked and what to be doing and what not to be doing at that stage. It's still like a big fucking learning process even now. There's sometimes I even fucking find myself being like, Jesus Christ, how did that not even work? Or why the fuck is this not working? Or I'm just don't even know what to be fucking doing with myself in the stream. But that was like how I got past the first stream. I just did it. Um, I'd been toying with the idea for fucking ages of doing it, and I did it, and it ended up going really, really fucking fine. So that's like the first question that someone had asked anyway. The second question that someone had asked was how did I prepare, or like how do I prepare for streams? So it's like really weird. Like every time I like stream and like come back to it, it feels like pretty much it's like the fucking first time that I streamed. I do be like really nervous a lot of the time, right before I hit start because one, there's a lot more going on my stream now. Like I have a computer and stuff. I've lights. I've a better fucking monitor. I have an actual capture card and stuff now that I use for it. So there's like a lot more that can go wrong. Ages ago, whenever I first got my capture card, that's whenever like audio desync stuff had to come in did. So before I would like start stream, I would like take a half an hour. At the time, I was working like in a clothes shop, so my plan would be like I would get out at 6. It was like 2 to 6 Monday to Friday, and I would get out at 6 and I'd be home for like 7. And between 7 and half 7, I would just like inhale my dinner, and then from half 7 till 8, I would just like get everything set up and make sure it was all working fine. Um, Even now, like before I start streams, I would take like a half an hour just to make sure that everything's sweet. And even still, I still get fucking loads of issues that come on with the stream as well. I also like have to prepare myself just in case it's like a quiet stream and stuff like that, because you do need to like adjust yourself, because there'll be streams where there'll be like loads of people in and talking, and then there's streams where it's like radio silence, there's not many people in, and it's like really important to kind of like mentally prepare yourself for that, because it's really easy to get like demotivated. The way I feel about it half of the time is like if I'm streaming and there's a good lot of people in, it's kind of like a rock rolling down a hill. And then whenever I'm like doing that, sometimes I'll have a stream where there's not many people talking, and the rock will just like hit another fucking rock and it will stop for a wee bit. And then you just kind of like need to keep yourself composed and stuff to make sure that you realize that the rock, even though it's stopped, it can like still get dislodged and continue to roll for you. But even now, like even before shooting this podcast, I was sitting for like fucking 5 minutes being like, do I even want to do this? I do get that a lot. Where I'd be like, do I even want to go live today? If I'm not like feeling it. Like if I'm having a bad day, chances are that I'm gonna stream anyway, because like streaming actually does lift my mood up. Just seeing the shit that people talk in the chat and the things that end up happening in the game, it can make it like a lot easier. And then there's times where I'm having fucking good days and I'm just like, this day is like so good so far. I feel like I want to do stuff. Like I'm like productive outside of streaming, where it could be like editing or even like taking care of myself, maybe even like working out and stuff like that, or going for a walk just to do even simple things like that. So it's like a mixed bag for whenever I'm trying to like prepare for streams. Before it really just depends on the day, but regardless if I'm going to stream or not, I always do my best to try and take like half an hour before and like kind of feel everything out again to make sure that it's like all gonna work fine, not gonna have any issues. Um, as I said before, like you still end up having loads of fucking issues. Like I remember there was like a non-stop problem with my microphone not being synced up, where I'd be talking and it would honestly look like a really old Jackie Chan film or Bruce Lee film, where I'd be talking and then the voice would come through like 4 or 5 seconds later. And I remember like one stream I was doing, or like right before one stream that I did, I think it was like Gears of War or something I was playing, and I said already on like the Discord, and I said to people I was going to be live soon, and I just could not get my fucking microphone to like work or like sync up. So I always find it good just to take like half an hour and stuff like that before prepare for streams and try and like mentally ground myself with what's about to be going on the streams. I try not to plan out my streams too much, because if I do that, then it just adds to like an extra stress of making sure the thing that I have planned goes right. But I'm trying to like dislodge myself out of that by doing different things on stream. Like I did like a stream where like I made like a fucking PowerPoint and stuff like that, like a history PowerPoint, and it was just like a piss take, and I went into that with literally like no plan whatsoever. And there was another stream, it was like a fucking, it was like my birthday stream where I had planned different things to be going on, and just like the difference was like night and day on like my birthday, and all. I was like pure stressing out because I was like, fuck, I have to do this. So it's good to kind of get a feel for like what your streaming stuff is going to be about. This is just like my own personal experiences. Before you start, then again, you could be the person who's like full on gun ho and just like goes into stream and can do like everything, is really tech savvy and really like has a good imagination for it. But for me, like there's days where I do and days that I don't have the fucking imagination to do half of the things, and the stream ends up being like very, very strange because it gets to a point where I'm like lost because I don't have a plan. And then there's times whenever I do have a plan, I get the plan, I'm like, fuck me, is this going to play out right? But overall, like when it comes to like how I feel emotionally about preparing for streams, there is times when I feel like proper shit, and then I'll just will not stream, even though I know it's going to make me feel better, because I have to like go in knowing that like there's going to be like an energy coming off the stream. I don't want it to be like I'm just sitting being a grumpy bastard talking shit about like everything, anything going on, which is kind of the way this fucking podcast is at the minute. Um, and also like I don't want to fucking put other people in bad moods and stuff like that if I'm talking about different things. So it's all just about just like taking care and making sure that you know what you're getting yourself into, and try not to have big massive like expectations, because you can be sitting there. I know it's easy to be like, oh, hopefully I get like a big raid or something like that, or hopefully someone fucking does this and does that. It's, pardon me, it's mostly just about like having fun and having good crack on the stream. So for me, like preparing, it's just like a mixed bag, just different things depend on how I'm feeling or what's going on, or depend on what I'm streaming. But it's just mainly important to like take time to make sure that you know like how you're feeling about the stream. That's the main thing I would say about it. Just make sure you're in the right mindset to do it, and make sure you know that you're gonna have fun in the end. But yeah, that's basically it for how I prepare for streams. Um, the next question, would be, what is my end goal? For me, I don't really have an end goal. I just like love streaming and just talking shit to people. I've met some like really interesting characters and stuff, and I actually fucking love the fact that that's a thing. I remember being in like a state whenever I'd started streaming where it's like I don't want to like speak to anyone except for like chat. Uh, that would be really it. Talking to myself, like talking just pure shit. And then it got to a point where like people were being who I knew streamed as well would pop in the stream, and then there would be like regulars and stuff like that. And I ended up actually making friends with them. Like there's people from like all over the fucking world. There's people from like America and stuff. There's people from Germany who would like pop in, and uh, it was really like an interesting feeling, because like it kind of like took me by surprise. So I went in streaming not having like a major end goal. I think I wouldn't want to say that I have an end goal at all. The goal in general is just to like make videos, talk shit, make people laugh, and like kind of not fucking have like tens of thousands of people watching. Like, I mean, that would be fucking class, but I mean, I want it to be kind of semi, um, like personal sorts, you know, like where I'm being like genuine to people because I'm guessing it gets, from what I see from like big streamers, it gets to a point where like the chat just becomes like an amalgamation of everyone who's in it, and like it kind of loses the, not the appeal, but you kind of lose face with people, even though like, you're only seeing names. Like there's names that like leave and come back, and there's new names and people like who I recognize come into the stream. So I would say my goal at the minute is just kind of like making a community and stuff where people can come in and chill out and just like listen to me talk pure and utter bollocks about pretty much anything going on during the day or the game or what I've been up to during the day, and just talking shit about myself really, because I'm a fucking selfish bastard who talks a lot of shit about myself because I don't give a fuck about it. But I know it's really weird. Like I wouldn't want to like put an end goal on it because if you're putting like an end goal on it, then you're already planning for the end of like what you're doing, and like I feel like I've barely even got started, even though I've been like fucking streaming and like making videos and talking shit on different things for about like 2 years now. I feel like I could go on for so long, and that's basically it. Like I actually don't even have like a proper end goal in sight at all. It's just kind of see how we get on. Because then if I have an end goal in place, it's kind of like the previous question. I end up having a fucking plan, and then if things don't go according to plan, I end up feeling like way worse about it overall. So I would say like my goal currently is just to have like a community of just people talking shit and having fun and getting enjoyment, a bit of a break from different things, from watching me. And um obviously I would fucking love as like a goal to be able to do it as like a proper full on career. That's like what I strive to do. I mean, I enjoy doing it as a hobby at the minute, but like everyone understands that like if there's a hobby you enjoy and you could do it for your fucking living, you would want to do it. So that's just kind of how I feel about it. But uh, kind of talking about what I had mentioned on my last episode of the podcast, whenever like you get these people being like, "Oh, like you should just go into it as if it's a hobby, and like don't expect anything else from it." Yeah, that's fair. It's a fair reason for it, because if you start making all these like fucking plans and stuff like that for how you're gonna do it, like you're just kind of lining yourself up to be like infinitely more disappointed. Not saying that you shouldn't believe in yourself, because you obviously fucking should. You should, if you feel like you're good at it and you're able to like stay consistent to it, then you definitely should. Like if it's a hobby you do like once a week and stuff like that, and you're like, oh fuck, I want to do this as like a living. You have to like look at it in a more realistic ways, and like you're gonna have to put the time in, although it's a hobby. And like whenever you're starting to put time into things as well, this is like applies to everything. Like see, when you start applying too much time and thought into the things that you enjoy, it ends up pretty much becoming a chore. That applies to me in pretty much every sense. I don't know if it applies to other people. Like even gaming at a point, like if I got like a console or something, like I got like the new Xbox, and because I have it and I spent money on it, I feel as if like I have to play it because I spent money on it, but I don't want to play it feeling like I have to play it. I want to play it when I want to, because it ends up just becoming a chore. Like the same kind of how I feel about streaming at times, where like if I'm not feeling too good, and there's times where I decide I don't want to stream. I don't want to stream because I have to. I want to do it because I want to, because it is a hobby and something that I'm like interested in. Because if I start doing it and I don't want to do it, then that's just like defeats the purpose of the entire fucking thing. Um, but as I say, that like for me, that applies to like everything. Like it's like I feel like a good example in my personal experience is just like, see if I go downstairs and there's like 30 dishes in the sink, I just watch them. See the second I get told, it's like, I can you clean them? I don't want to do it because it has become a chore at that stage. it goes from just being something that I'm doing like without thinking about it and like not putting too much thought into it into something that like I have to do. I just immediately like lose any sort of interest in wanting to do it at that stage. Could be that I'm just like such a fucking I don't like taking orders and stuff like that. But it's like even when I was like working in that clothing store, whenever you be doing your job and you're in like a good flow, the second someone tells you to do it, like if I was like clearing racks and stuff like that and like moving clothes and stuff about, because that's what I'd be doing. I'd be like folding clothes and I'm doing it anyway, and then someone comes up behind me and be like, "Yeah, can you fold them?" and points at the things that I'm folding. It just instantly makes me not want to do it. But I feel like that greatly applied to streaming at a point for me where it was just like I felt like I had to do it rather than what I was wanting to do. So I ended up like taking a wee bit of time away. It even like boils down to like what games and stuff I'm playing. Um, Hence why I don't like end up playing half of the fucking games that are like really big on Twitch at the time. Like I didn't stream Among Us or anything because the game like it was fun, but it didn't really interest me. And I knew if I was like forcing myself to play it, then I just would enjoy the stream, which is not what I fucking want to be doing at all. So even when it like, comes to picking games now, I like to put a good bit of thought into it to play games that I want to play. It's not as if like, oh, it's my way or the highway or like get the fuck out of here. It's more just like personal preference at different times. You know, even though I don't want to do it, I'll still do it anyway because I'm like really passive. But I feel like the example of like the sync is like a good way to kind of get the message across where it's like you see something, you're like, I'm gonna do that. You do it, and the second you get told that you either have to do it or you should do it, you're just kind of immediately losing fucking interest in it. Um, but I like there we go. Just went on a fucking full on tangent about that. End goal, don't have one. I have a goal, but not a goal that I'm looking to end on anyway. So the next question would be like, what would be a dream project that I would want to make? Um, See, it's changed a lot over the past wee while. There was like different things that I was wanting to do on stream. I was wanting to like do like speedrun tournaments and stuff like that and get people who never speedrun games before and get them to try and do their best at beating the games as quickly as they could, and then I would like commentate it and stuff like that. And then just of recently I have like a project that I'm thinking of doing and I'm like working on it where it's like I get like a couple of my streamer friends on. What we try and do is it's kind of similar to like Dragon's Den and how that works. I get like a couple of friends on, and we all have to like come up with like a shitty invention, and we get people to vote who makes the best shitty invention for like the most mundane tasks. Because I got the idea originally because what it was I had a channel point reward. So like channel points is like whenever you're watching a stream, you build up channel points and then you can spend them on different things to like make streamers do them. So in my case, I have like a channel point. I used to have channel points for like improv stories where like I would just make up a story on the top of my head. I had one for like I have one currently and it's like cancel me. And then whenever you use it, like a big fuck off red X appears on the screen and makes like a big loud buzzer noise. So this one was like invent the product. So what people would do is they would redeem it and then give me like a sentence about like a mundane task or something like really silly, like a really specific fucking situation that you're in, and it would be me like making up a fucking item in order to like help make that easier, and it could be the most fucking like stupidest thing ever. There was like one that I made where it was like someone had said like their shoes don't fit them properly, and then I was like, oh, there's like the shoe roller and like the shoe unroller where it's like a rolling pin that you like sellotape to the end of your fucking shoe and like roll it back, and it like brings your shoe back to make it like a smaller size, and would be like making like different fucking products for it, and like depending on like what kind of shoe it is to make sure you don't damage the shoe. It was all like stupid shit like that. It's not like the best example I could come up with, but that was one of them. So that's kind of what I would want to do as like a dream project on stream, kind of like make a show out of it, because I feel like making shows and stuff on streams like really funny as fuck. Like getting different people to come in and just add their own like 2 cents to different situations and how they would like overcome different things. So the one I was wanting to make was like everybody comes on, everyone makes like a stupid fucking product, or like I would even do it as in everybody comes on the stream not knowing what it is that they're having to do, and then you give them a sentence of like a problem someone's having, and then everyone has to make like an invention in order to solve said problem, and then they would like show it off and display it, and then either like the other contestants would vote on who they think is the best one, or like I would get like chat and stuff to, kind of look at it and see what they would think about it. And I think it would be funny as fuck just as a thing to do, like interesting as well. In terms of like dream projects overall as well, there's a short film that I would love to make if I could get the equipment and like the funding for it, that I've been like legit like fucking about with for the past 2 years. I'll not like go into it because I don't want to like spoil it, but it was like a kind of like a short film thriller thing, but I need like the proper equipment for it, and I would need like actual actors and shooting locations and all, and it's all just kind of like sitting waiting right now. So I would love at some point to be able to like make it a thing and just even have it made. I wouldn't even have to like fucking show it to anyone, just like having it made because it's been sitting in my head for the past 2 years. Um, so yeah, that would be like a dream project, just kind of like outside of streaming and different things like that. As well, like a dream project is I would love to fund people's like short films and stuff like that, because you get people who are like funding in all these big mad like big massive films and stuff like that, and I would love to be able to like help fund student films, help them make some of the videos and sketches and fucking whatever it is, music videos, whatever, just to help them, make the progress in it. Because I remember when I was in college, you had like the equipment available to you, but it was like you were proper shitting yourself at all times with it because like so many other people had to use it. I would love to be able to like put money in and like fund these people to buy the equipment they need and own it, so they can like make whatever the fuck they want, instead of like making something and then kind of like biting their nails, being like, oh fuck, like here we have to be really careful of that because like it may break, or this isn't exactly the smartest fucking idea. I would love just to be able to like people to put forward their ideas and then just me like fucking money on it and just being like, yo, here, you know what it is, like don't fucking worry about it. If it breaks, it breaks. I'll buy you the fucking camera or whatever it is that you need. I would love to be able to do that for people. I think that would be such like a interesting thing, because like I'd actually originally planned whenever got my first student loan to buy like a cinema camera to use, and then like let my friends who like fucking wanted to make short films or stuff like that, who like left college and didn't have the camera equipments, to let them and fucking do whatever they want with it and film the things that they want to make with like the good equipment. But I ended up buying the fucking world's shittiest laptop, which is actually sitting in a box in the corner of my room doing nothing because it's so balls. But yeah, I would say I would definitely be like a dream thing for me. So he's basically got like fucking 3 dream projects overall. So basically, to summarize, a Twitch show about like making inventions, funding people's short film projects, and making my own short film that I've been planning on making for fucking years. So the question after that is, what was the best game that I played on stream? There's been like a couple. I would say in terms of like funniness, the best game that I played on stream was definitely GTA 4. Like GTA 4 was whenever like a lot of the regulars who watched the stream had started coming in and watching the stream regularly. Funny enough, because they're fucking regulars. But I GTA 4 was like so funny. It was like the way the game is. There's just so much shit that can go on in it. You just like push fucking people about and just like act a total bastard to all these people who are just like walking about in the game, and just the engine of the game just makes all these like stupid fucking situations like 10 times funnier. And then with people coming into chat and all and just being like, yo, here, fuck, you should definitely do this, and it would just add to like the entire overall feeling of the stream. I would say I would definitely be like one of the best games that I played. Recently I played Final Fantasy 7, and I'd never played a Final Fantasy game before, and fuck me, that game is some crack. I absolutely love Final Fantasy 7. It was definitely like, there's sometimes like on stream that this would be like, oh, I have kind of like a game and bucket list where there's like really famous games that I had never played before, and I would really have loved to play them on stream and experience for the first time, you know, with people who are watching. There's like games that I played that people don't even fucking know about or have the slightest inkling of what they are. Um, Shenmue being one of them. I'd played like the first one before, and I'd never played the second one on stream, so I was like, oh, here, fuck it, I'll play that. And then there was like Final Fantasy VII. I played through that. The Legend of Zelda Wind Waker. These are like games that I never played as a kid, and I know a lot of people have like really good memories of them. So I wanted to actually play them, and a lot of them ended up fucking being really, really good experiences and stuff to stream. Wind Waker though, fucking near sent me to the Shadow Realm with some of the shit you had to do in that game. It got to the point where I was like, should I even do some of the side business in this game? Because like towards the end, you have to like fucking flab out in a boat for about 2 hours, like getting up pieces of the Triforce, and honestly, like I know loads of people love that game, but that near killed the game for me. But there's Final Fantasy VII, as I was talking about, which was the last game that I played on stream, and part of like my gaming bucket list of games that I never played before and wanted to actually play. And I was like one of the best games that I played on stream, like full stop. It was so fucking good. Like the music, the story, the gameplay was a bit fucking bit dodgy on it at times, like, but there's people like in chat and stuff who had played it before. Not even like necessarily telling me exactly what to do, but like giving me like wee tips and like, oh here, fucking put this with that, and then that will like help fucking with your overall like health and shit like that. But I wasn't constant, and people weren't like coming in telling me exactly what to do at all times, which can be annoying whenever people are like backseat gaming, because that fucking fries my nuts at times. Like whenever people start doing that shit, and it was like proper, just good vibes throughout the entire game. And I know like a lot of people really love the game, so it was funny like seeing people's takes on my like gameplay style, because people were like absolutely fucking pulling me apart, because they would say I was basically playing the game on hard mode by making the most stupid decisions with like who I was bringing in certain places, what items I had, um, like what magic and stuff I was using in like certain boss fights, and it ended up like working in my favor. And like there was moments whenever I was playing it, and people were like, "How the actual fuck did you end up beating that boss by acting like complete bollocks doing that shit?" And it definitely was one of the best like recent stream games that I've done. Uh, it like put me in the mood to maybe play even like more Final Fantasy games. Um, in terms of like the best game, I would definitely say GTA 4. Second best, I'm trying to think because there's been like loads of games that I've played now. This stage, I'd say Shenmue or Shenmue 2. They'd be like a close draw because they were just like non-stop madness in them games of just like ridiculousness, things going on. But I like Final Fantasy be up there as well. I'd say Final Fantasy and Shenmue are kind of like tied together overall. But GTA 4 definitely just like fucking takes a top spot for me, because that was when I actually started properly editing YouTube videos as well, because of like the moments were so ridiculous in it where I was just kind of sitting there. I was like, I could probably make really good YouTube videos out of this, you know, with just some of the fucking ridiculous things that were going on. And I ended up getting like, I don't know, fucking 11 videos out of it overall from the streams that I had done. So yeah, just there's definitely more games and stuff that I think could probably take over on that. It's not even necessarily only about the game when you're streaming as well. Like GTA 4 is a good example of that, of just people chirping in the chat and giving like saying really funny things, or like giving you good ideas on like what you should be doing when you're playing games. Which is why like I find it really difficult to watch streamers who are playing story games and like games with like really intricate systems and have like zero tolerance for, you know, like not even necessarily backseat gaming. It would be just like someone chirps in and be like, "Oh, I hear like there's a wee thing there," like, or like if they pick up an item or something which is really good and they don't use it, someone could like say in chat being like, "Oh, I hear that item you picked up's actually really good if you want to use it," and not even like they're not being like use it now. I see like certain streamers who are just like completely no tolerance for that and would end up just kind of like losing the fucking rag with people over that. But I feel like chat adds to the experience of playing games. Especially when people ask like silly questions about the game or get you into silly situations by telling you to do and interacting with certain things, which is like a really like good overall thing to be having going on your stream, because there could be games that are like dead fucking boring that you're playing on stream, and like chat can fucking carry the game for you. I would say like, not saying that I'm fucking amazing or anything like that. Sure not. But I would say a lot of people who would like play fucking Shenmue would have like a hard time enjoying it on stream because a lot of the things you do in it seem really mundane. But as long as you have like fucking people chatting away and talking shit, basically you could turn any fucking game or streaming into like your best game. Just from like the different experiences and wee bits and pieces that people end up firing into the stream overall. Which is why I greatly appreciate a lot of people who come in and watch the streams and watch the YouTube videos because like it gives them ideas on like, oh, how do I get Andy into this situation again? Because there'd be like games where I'm like completely flabbergasted or stuck, and like they could try and fuck me over and get me back into them situations. Because one, it's like enjoyable to me, like trying to like work out problems in a game, and two, it's like enjoyable for them to see me fucking struggle with basic human tasks. So I would say going back to the main point, GTA 4. Actually, fuck, just remembering Fallout New Vegas as well. I'd played through it before, and I was streaming that directly from a console. This was before I had like the capture card and stuff like that. So like the quality of the stream was shit, but that was like a game I could like really easily like dip into. Even without chat, I was able to like enjoy it myself because the game's so fucking ridiculous and like really interesting and like fun to play. New Vegas is like one of my favorite games ever. I remember actually getting to a point where I was playing it on stream when I was doing like one of the DLCs where I was like talking to myself and getting into like a really good rhythm of just talking shit about the things that were going on into the game and just talking shit about literally everything going on around me, even in my life, even like literally to do with anything. Because there are like certain games like that, whenever I'm playing them, my brain just kind of like the game switches off essentially for me when it comes to like what I'm thinking about outside of it. So Halo does that for me as well. Like we playing Halo multiplayer and just full on like robot moded and be talking about completely like different things. And I actually do quite well in the games as well. I would just be like playing them and my brain has completely like disconnected from the game and I'm just talking about different stuff. So that would definitely attribute to like what I would consider to be like best games on stream. I would say I would actually give that advice to anyone who wants to like play games. If there's a game that you like can play and switch off to, and like you're looking to stream, I would say you should probably, if you want to get into like the fucking routine of talking to yourself and like talking to your chat and like learning to deal with how to talk on stream, if you're like nervous about talking about things, play games where you can like switch off and just completely like let your brain leak and just talk pure and utter fucking balls about everything and anything going on. You like anyone who watches the streams will notice the different streams whenever I'm playing certain games where like everything that comes to my head just leaks out, and then the other times where I'm thinking more about the game than what I'm talking about. So there's times on streams where if I'm focusing too much on the game, the only thing I'm talking about is the game and what's happening in the game at that exact time. And I think that's boring to watch, in my opinion. When it comes to my stream, if I'm like watching the VOD back or if I'm editing it, if I'm just talking about the game all the time, I think that's boring. I think like I have the most like interesting things to say or like funny things to say about just different things going on around me in the world, sometimes in the game or whatever someone has said in the chat, like to trigger a conversation. So that my advice would just to be play a game that you can switch off to if you want to learn how to like speak to yourself and talk shit about literally everything going on. Went on too long about that. Next question. What was my original dream job? So first it was an astronaut. I think that's just like basic bitch stuff, you know, just like fucking. I was like, I want to go to space and fucking flap out with a Wallace and Gromit on the cheese moon, all that kind of stuff. Um, I was like, fuck, I'm gonna be an astronaut. Then I realized at a point when I was very very young that I was too stupid to be an astronaut. I was like, no, there's no fucking chance them cunts would let me anywhere near a spaceship because I just crash into the fucking closest ocean that was near me, or I would just land straight into a moon crater, or somehow start like an intergalactic fucking war with some mad species. Like I would be that person to start that stuff. And I realized like quite young, I was like, oh here Andy, you gotta like fucking have realistic expectations about what you want to be, mate. So we do want to know what your dream job came after that. Being a golfer. Being a golfer was like someone who fucking just plays golf and that's it. even though the funny thing about it is I'd never fucking play a golf in my life. I was like, I want to be a golfer. I think it was because there was a stage in my life where I would just watch fucking Happy Gilmore like every weekend, non-stop, over and over again. Um, when I was like proper young, I was like, fuck me, Adam Sandler, he can hit the ball like fuck, and he gets all sorts of money for it, and he seems to be having good fun. So I was like, maybe I should do that. And then it quickly dawned on me that you actually have to play golf in order to be a golfer, which was quite disappointing to discover at such a young age. It's kind of like old Santa Claus thing. Um, so that was like my next dream job at the time. But I was those first two were just whenever I was proper young. After that, I think I wanted to go into like game development, but I had actually like looked into game development when I was like quite young. So between like the ages of like 10 to 14, that's what I was kind of wanting to do because I was like addicted to playing fucking Halo. I would play Xbox all day because I had literally no mates when I was growing up as a kid. I was an absolute fucking tub of a child, like not even joking, pure fucking Michelin man child. Um, I just had no real ambitions to do like anything else aside from like gaming related things. So I would like watch how like games were made, and it was really weird because I actually knew a lot about game development and stuff at a really young age and like what went into it. That I actually think if I had a fucking bothered my arse to like follow that career path, I probably would have been decent at doing something like that. So I even in like ICT and stuff, I would have thrived. Like whenever you had to use like these programs to make like wee basic fucking stupid flash games and stuff like that, I would actually do quite well at it. But then whenever I reached like the age of 14 or something like that, I think it was, I'd started watching films a lot more. I'd watch films like whenever I was a child up until the age of 14 anyway. Like I had loads of fucking films that I watched, despite me saying that I would watch Happy Gilmore over and over and over again. There was other films like The Mummy, fucking the last film. But no, I would watch loads of films, even like older films and stuff like that from like the fucking 80s and older rated films and stuff. You know, like fucking 15 plus. Don't be telling anyone. When I was 14, I was watching 15 plus. But I'd like discovered because I was more interested in kind of like the behind the scenes of game development rather than like the actual games themselves. And I quickly realized that I was starting to get that way about films. I was more interested in how shots were achieved, how like people's brains were literally like fucking spat out on the page, like these worlds of like imagination. And I think I know Lord of the Rings was originally a book, but the Lord of the Rings films had like kind of set me on it because like even though like fucking Lord of the Rings is based on a book, like the films are so fucking good. It's scary. Like I remember watching them and just being like, how the fuck does all this translate so well? How is the images in Peter Jackson's fucking head like translating onto a fucking screen and making me feel this way? So yeah, whenever I was like 14, I'd watch like films which were like films, not just things that you stick on and just don't really pay attention to. Like these things were like thought out in the shots, like things were meant to make you feel a particular way, and it really like gripped my attention. So when I was like 14, I was like, fuck, I like would love to like start making things myself because obviously when I was a child and when I was growing up I didn't have much mates. I found it like really easy to like distract myself by uh like imagining things. Like when it comes to like my imagination, I feel like I'm very fortunate. I can like imagine things down to like vivid details. But the funny thing is like my memory can be shade at times. But there's like things that I would like imagine. Like, do you want to know how mad it is? Just to kind of go back to the game development thing. In my fucking head, I can imagine the exact game that I would make and how it would play, and I basically wouldn't even have to fucking make it because I'm playing it in my head that I could imagine it that well. It was kind of like at that point. So I was like, I can like imagine things really well. So I think I'd be really good at like telling stories and stuff like that, and like putting them on the pages and paper and fucking uh, just kind of get them out there, which is part of the reason I think why a lot of people find me funny, quote unquote. I don't fully understand why a lot of people find me funny. I think it's because like I can come up with shit in my head like so quickly and spout it out and like come up with these fucking crazy scenarios. Like hypotheticals and things that would just like not be in within the fucking realms of reality and people would find them funny. Um, I felt like, oh, I should definitely like apply this to film. So when I was like 14, I think I made like a really weird video. like on my own. I was like, right, so I need to take into account like equipment and things. And then like the first video I ever made, which was just like I had someone like involved in with me, was when I was like 15. Me and my friend were out, and like we used to all hang out together in like this park, and me and him would turn up early and like just kind of chill out and like fucking play cards and stuff like that before other people would come and just like talk shit. And we turned up one time and there was like a roll of fucking tinfoil sitting on the ground, and I looked at it and I was like, that's proper funny. Like there's just like an entire roll of tinfoil sitting in this park. I want to do something with this. So like we proper made like fucking bionic arms out of tinfoil and like pure tin hats and shit like that. And we were like walking about the park, just like talking shit, like trying to just be funny at the time. And there's like photos of me and stuff, like wearing all this tinfoil shit. And then I was like, it'll be like proper funny, like making like a fucking video about this. So like what I ended up doing is I ended up like getting the tinfoil and I made it into a mask. And I ended up fucking using my really shit phone at the time to make a video about this tinfoil mask, and it was really really funny. It was only like fucking 2 minutes long. I don't have Facebook anymore where it was uploaded, but I'll try and find it again and fucking show it at some point in the future because it's proper funny. Well, it's not even that funny. It's like funny to think about because of my memories that I have of when we were doing it. But yeah, we like filmed this really like silly thing about this like tinfoil mask, and after we were done, like I edited it on my really shit phone and like uploaded it. We ended up like looking at the mask, like it ended up being like the fucking film was about just like someone sees like a really interesting tin mask, puts it on, and then ends up like fucking going crazy because he's wearing it. It wasn't anything like proper serious. We were literally that fucking bored at the time. Um, and like the tin mask, I remember after filming it, looking at it, I was like, this thing is too fucking like good to like break or like just like crumple up. Like this needs to like sit somewhere. And I was like, I don't think I could bring it home because if I was walking home with a tinfoil mask, I would probably get fucking shot. Um, so we were like, we need to hide this somewhere in this fucking park, and they come back and find it. So the tinfoil mask, we hid it in like this. There was like a bush which had a kind of like an open area in it, and like you had to like climb into it though. So we like set it in this big bush where like you couldn't see it unless like you were looking for it. And we came back. I think it was about a month later or something. Like we had been there a couple of times since, but we didn't go looking for it. But it was just we knew where we had left it, and after like a month, we came back, went over to it, and it was still there. And like I just remember laughing. I was like, "Fuck me, this is just so weird." Like that this thing is still here. And then after like 2 weeks or something, we didn't show any cunt as well. Didn't show anyone the thing. We came back and it was fucking gone. Some absolute fucking bastard from like the council or something must have found it and threw it in the fucking bin, or like took it home and wore it himself. And I don't even know what happened to it, but that was like such like a funny experience to me of like making that short wee video. I was like, I actually want to do this. Like, I want to make like really silly videos for people to watch, and like it doesn't even. I used to like have a really weird sense of humor of like, um, because I always used to overthink things, right? If I would like read someone's like Facebook status or Twitter post or anything, I would like overanalyze it to try and find the meaning or what they're trying to say about it. But then I stopped doing it. I kind of like wised up and I was just like, I don't give a fuck about this. And then I was like, there's definitely got to be like more people like me who do this and look for the deeper meaning. So my humor developed into like talking pure and utter shit on like Facebook and making nonsensical statements like about everything and anything. Like it wouldn't even like it wasn't edgy, it wasn't anything. It would just be like a random fucking sentence or like a random sentence and a picture of something, because like it made me laugh knowing that someone was gonna look at this and like have difficulties trying to like fucking figure out what it was that I meant when it didn't mean anything. So like I really wanted to make videos that were similar to that, where it would seem as if like the videos had like a really deep meaning behind them. There was like something going on in them, and that people should like fucking look at this masterpiece and like analyze it because that's what people do to films. And I really wanted to like start making stuff like that. So I just started making these like really weird videos of me just like there would be something in the background that would mean fuck all, and I would just say these really weird sentences. There was one I did, and it was me like reviewing a fucking chocolate bar in like an American accent, and like I knew there was gonna be someone. I was like, why the fuck is he doing this? Like, what is going on? Like, what is this about? And I just used to do that all the fucking time. But then I kind of, as I like obviously matured a bit more and like kind of understood that there's like more sense to like making films and things like that. I decided um I should definitely fucking invest some brain power into like making things proper. So I ended up like picking moving image and that's like ICT and media. I did media and moving image because they're kind of like semi linked to each other in a way. So I was doing them, and I like really enjoy them. And the thing about those subjects though is that whenever like you're creating stuff, there's like a certain element of freedom stripped away from you because like you obviously have to do it within the criteria of like your education, and like it has to make sense so like your teacher can fucking write about it and make sense of it themselves to give you a grade. Because if you make a video which makes no fucking sense at all, like they can't really analyze it unless like you're really good at explaining it to them. But the videos I was making meaned fuck all. I'm not like, pardon me, that was the point of them. uh so whenever I was doing it, I made like, I came up with these really shit thriller ideas just at the time because I thought I would do it just to kind of like appease like a teacher and make her job fucking easier. So I did them, and they were like not amazing, but like not fucking great. But that making films and doing some form of like creative thing or just talking shit was what I wanted to do, and like they're all kind of like linked in a way. Even if like it came a thing where I would like be a writer, as long as I just get to talk shit and just like do whatever I want, then I would like be fucking really happy with it. So whenever I was like 16, that was whenever I started watching Twitch, and there was a streamer that I watched, Clint Stevens, who was like an Ocarina of Time speedrunner, and his stream was just like the epitome of like what I was wanting to do, like humor wise, of him just talking pure shit about everything and anything, and it didn't even have to make fucking sense because it was so funny. Like it was just kind of like how you carried yourself, and I was just like, that's literally what I fucking do most of the time. Just talk shit about everything. Obviously, like I have like issues as well because I'm like I take things like really fucking serious and things like that. Like a lot of the time I fucking can overthink things even myself now, not even in regards to film, just everything going on in the world. And I was like, fuck here, maybe this is a good idea to maybe start streaming. Because when you're streaming, you're just talking shit, and there's so much you can do from it, and it's all happening live, which is like I found it like really like see anything that I made, which was just pure and utter like fucking shit coming out of my mouth. It was done in the moment, and it was not planned out because I really like can't fuck. It's kind of similar to what I was talking about earlier. It becomes like a chore at that stage, whenever you have to do it. So I would try and get myself in the mindset where I'm not thinking about it and I don't care, and it would just fucking come out, and that's how it would go. Um, so I was like, fuck it, here, either filming or streaming, and I went to college and done a degree in film. And as I was doing that, I was like making these things, and just like school, it was very like restricted on what you could do. Like there was projects and stuff I would show to my tutors, and then they'd be like, "Well, like what the fuck does this mean?" And like they have every right to like be that way because like they have to be able to market and like make sense of it and understand it. And I would just be like, "Fuck, maybe like I can't do this." And whenever like I'd finished college, that's whenever I took the opportunity to start streaming because I know I can fucking just talk shit and have fun. And that's like what my dream job ended up evolving into. So I went from astronaut, golfer, fucking uh like game designer to filmmaker, and then the streamer. Like it's fucking the bumpy ride. So anyone who doesn't fucking know what it is that they're wanting to do themselves, just fucking take the time, and there's still plenty of it for you to discover, like what it is that you want to do. Like I went through, like I would say obviously the first two, the golfer and the astronaut one, I wouldn't really count them, but going from a game designer, the film maker, the fucking streamer are like, they're kind of similar in the terms that they're all like media based, but like in terms of like investment and how much I wanted to do each of them, I would say like there's a jump between each of them. So like anything that you want to do, just fucking do it, and keep an open mind that like you can still change what it is that you want to be, and just fucking whenever you know what you want to be and you're like fucking 110% sure about it, just work on it and do what you fucking gotta do to do it, and enjoy yourself. Be nice to people and fucking do what you gotta do. If people aren't fucking playing ball, just play ball with yourself, my friend, and you fucking do it whatever way you can. Yeah, that's fucking what the crack was. My original dream job. Funniest story from my jobs. I think like I've went over these in a couple of videos, so I'll try and like summarize some of them. There was the time whenever I was like working in like the clothes shop, there was these two people who like came up and they were wanting to buy like bras. Like this isn't even like, this is like funny for people to hear. It's not funny for me because I fucking think about this so often because I actually hated every minute of it. Or like they didn't speak English too well, and they came up and I was like, oh, I hear like they came up with two things. There was two of them and they came up with two things. I said, are you paying for these like together or are you paying for them separate? And then they said separate. So I like put through for both of them, and then one of them, they like I put through the first one, and then one of them gave me like the money, like give me more money than what was needed for it, right? So I was like, okay, so I just give her a change back, and then I was like, okay, so who's gonna pay me for the second one then if they're going through separate? And then they were like, what? And I was like, oh, they like you said about these going through separate, and they didn't understand like what I was fucking going on about, and they both started laughing. I was like, it's like, what the fuck's going on here? So I had like two receipts, and then they were like, they weren't even like communicating properly. And the thing is, as well, I was on this till because someone was on their break. Because I was really sick that day, so I had to go on the till. And they were just like laughing. I was like, right, so like, who's gonna fucking give me the money for this like second thing? Like, cause I had put through these like separate, and they just like couldn't seem to fucking understand what I was on about. Um, and they just kept laughing at me and laughing at me, and not like in like a like laughing way. It was, they were like laughing because like they didn't really know what was going on. And then the person who was on the break came back and they were like, "What's the problem?" I'm like, "I'm trying to like fucking exchange goods with these people. Like, what is going on? Like, they're just laughing at me here, and like I'm trying to like make sense of this." And then like she had asked them, "Is like, what's the crack?" And they started laughing. They started laughing at her at this stage. And like the next thing, my manager came over and he was like, "What's going on?" I'm like, "I'm fucking trying to like make an exchange here in the shop." And I turned around and I was like, "You just wanted these separate, right?" And then they looked at like the fucking things, and then they were like, they lifted one of them and they were like, we wanted, saying like fucking perfect English, like we wanted them separate from the hanger. And I was like, what the fuck does that even mean? Like, what do you mean? It's like you wanted them separated from the hanger, like so you didn't want them on the hanger. But like when I asked you, are you paying for them? You said separate, but you now you want them together, and you were talking about the fucking thing. And I actually was just like, fuck this. And I just stepped back and I was like, to my manager, I was like, can you actually sort that? Like, I have no fucking body. Like, what is wanted from me here? Like, I've tried. This went on for about 10 minutes overall. And it ended up getting to the point where my manager had to count the till, because apparently I'd fucked up somehow, but I didn't. It was because of what they'd said to me. And then he ended up coming up to me after and he was just like, he's like, what happened there? And then I explained to him properly, and then he was like, oh, right. And he's like, all right, okay. And just like walked away, and I'm like, you didn't even apologize after fucking blaming me for that, you bastard. No, like I think a lot of people say that's like a funny story that they've heard from my fucking crusade of being in a job, a clothes shop. Um, there's no like real fucking other stories I could think of now. I would probably need to like fucking think about it because a lot of them like aren't necessarily funny in the moment. It's more like funny to look back on because of how silly some of the situations were. I can tell you a nice story that happened when I was working in a clothes shop. There was a guy and he looked completely and there's a funny part in the story actually. There was a guy in the shop and he looked completely and utterly lost. And he was like walking back and forth, and I could see he was trying to get people's attention, but they just like weren't paying mind to him. He was going like, he was like that, and I thought there was something wrong. So I was like, right, fuck this, I'm gonna go over and speak to this guy, like see what the crack is, because he'd been walking up and walking back and forth for about 10 minutes. I walked over to him and was talking to him. And I walked up to him and I was like, "Excuse me, mate, is like everything all right with you?" And like he turned around, he like moved his mouth and like didn't understand what I was saying. And I was like, "All right." And he whipped out a wee notepad and then he was like, So it turned out the guy was fucking deaf. And I was like, oh my god, like, no wonder, like, he can't speak to, like, get the attention of people in work. And he's, like, proper, like, trying to walk over him and stuff. So I was like, thank fuck I came over to the guy. And the funny part of the story was, like, he, like, wrote down on his wee notepad, and it was, like, where is the men's section? But the men and the, 2 seconds. The men and the women's section of the shop are, like, separate. So they are from each other. And, so I, like, took the fucking notepad off him to write, like, the directions to the men's store, and he had, like, 90% of the page filled. I went to, like, flip the next page, and he probably, like, stuck his hand in, and he, like, closed it, and he was like, and then, like, turned around away from me, and, like, flipped, like, 7 different pages, and then, like, spun around again, and then he had like, a blank page, so he must have, like, not wanted me to see, like, previous questions or something that he had asked, which was, like, very funny, just the way he, like, grabbed it from me. But I ended up, like, giving him the directions and stuff like that, and he ended up getting sorted. That was probably a nice story and all. And it was a good one. I also got, like, a really, really good, like, fucking review from someone in the shop one time, because, like, I went through a receipt which was no joke, like, that fucking long with them to try and see what the crack was, because they, like, got 2 of an item or something like that, which they weren't meant to. That was pretty nice. But yeah, it was an interesting one. But that's fucking all the time that I've got for today. I really appreciate you all watching or listening or doing whatever it was that you were doing when you were fucking floating about here. Hopefully you enjoyed. I'll probably do another one at some point soon if people enjoy this one enough. I know, like, at the start I was a bit fucking rocky on it, but that plays back into the whole how do I prepare for different things. But if you're new here and you're just listening for the first time, hopefully you enjoyed. Be sure to check out my other YouTube stuff. And if you want to pop into the old Twitch streams and say hello there, you're more than welcome. It's at Twitch/Andyboldboy. It's all going to be in the description of the video anyway. But yes, if you got this far, really appreciate it. I might do more, depends on what people think of this. It was good to actually get off my arse and do another one of these, because I've been toying with the idea of doing another one for fucking ages after doing the episode 0. But we are going to fucking leave it there, and I hope you all have an absolute fantastic rest of your day. You're all staying safe, and fucking be sure to come back for more The Muck whenever it's available. So, yep, have a fucking absolute blessing one, everyone. Bye.